Well, good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to call this meeting of the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality to order. Today is Wednesday, June 12, 2024. The time is 9:30 a.m. With us today are Commissioner Gonzalez, our General Counsel, Mary Smith. We're hoping to see Commissioner Janeka shortly, and I'm John Neerman. Registration has now closed, but if you'd like to address the Commission on a particular item, please email agenda@tceq.texas.gov with your name, your affiliation, and the item number that you'd like to speak to, and we'll do our best to accommodate that request. For those addressing the Commission, the General Counsel or I will inform you of your time limit. Thank you all for being present today, and Ms. Smith, I'll ask you to please call the first item.
Item number 1 is the consideration of the ALJ's proposal for decision and proposed order concerning the application of Undyne Texas Environmental LLC for new TIPDES permit number WQ00160460001. The order of presentation will begin with the applicant, followed by protestants, the ED, and then OPIC. The ED and OPIC will have 5 minutes each for oral argument, and the applicant may save time for rebuttal as it bears the burden of proof on the application. And we'll begin with the applicant. I believe we have Curran Walker.
Good morning, sir, and you might just check your mic and make sure you have a light on there.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, Public Interest Counsel. Curran Walker on behalf of the applicant, Undyne Texas Environmental, from Greg Law PC. We believe this PFD was correctly issued. It is supported not only by Commission staff, but also by OPIC. We believe the administrative law judge analyzed the issues correctly and decided correctly. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and otherwise I'd like to reserve the rest of my time for rebuttal.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. I have no questions. Colleagues, any questions? All right. Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman.
And next we'll call the representative for the protestants.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Stephanie Albright, and I represent Brazoria County, a protestant in this case. The county asked that the commission deny the permit application because the proposed discharge will violate the Texas surface water quality standards, and the draft permit is not protective of water quality, human health, aquatic life, wildlife, and livestock. The county has shown that the draft permit water quality modeling relied on stream conditions that are not reflective of the actual receiving streams, resulting in low dissolved oxygen levels that would be harmful to aquatic life in the receiving waters. The TCEQ and the applicant had access to and could have requested data relating to the actual stream dimensions, velocity, and flow characteristics of the receiving streams that would have produced accurate water quality modeling results. Instead, TCEQ staff relied on standard assumptions of a typical Texas stream. These standard assumptions are not consistent with the actual dimensions of the receiving streams in this application. Instead, the standard assumptions analyze wider and shallower stream conditions, resulting in inaccurate modeling results that are not reliable to determine water quality impacts to the proposed discharge and the protection of the receiving waters. Additionally, the county has concerns that Enterococci was not included in the TCEQ's analysis as an indicator for bacteria. The proposed discharge is located in a coastal area that ultimately discharges in the tidal segment of Bastrop Bayou. Enterococci is regularly exceeded in Bastrop Bayou. Failure to evaluate the proposed discharge for Enterococci will likely result in an exceedance of concentrations, which would violate the Texas surface water quality standards. For these reasons and all the additional reasons provided in the county's closing arguments, the county urges the commission to deny the application. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Albright. I have none. Any questions, colleagues? Seeing none, thank you.
And next we have the ED.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, General Counsel, Public Interest Counsel. I am Kathy Humphreys with the Environmental Law Division. With me today is Sonia Bahia of the Water Quality Division. The executive director respectfully recommends the commission adopt the ALJ's recommendation in the PFD and grant the permit as drafted. The executive director also recommends the commission adopt the proposed changes to the proposal for decision and proposed order noted in the ALJ's exceptions letter. And we're available for any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Humphries. Colleagues, any questions? All right. Ms. Jameson, good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Executive Directors, attorneys, and staff. For the record, I'm Jennifer Jameson on behalf of OPIC. Upon consideration of all evidence, OPIC respectfully concurs with the findings in fact and conclusions of law as outlined by the ALJ's proposal for decision and recommends issuance of this permit without modification. Specifically, OPIC finds that applicant has met its burden of proof on all three referred issues. OPIC notes that it is uncontested that the stream characterization of the receiving ditches for this discharge is intermittent with perennial pools. Though protestants challenged inputs to Qualtex modeling based on the characterization of the flow as 6.8 meters wide and 5 inches deep, credible evidence presented by applicant and the ED showed that applicant is not required to submit site-specific data, and instead general hydraulic assumptions may be used when determining how the proposed discharge would impact the ditches. Given the evidence presented, OPIC cannot find that the Qualtex inputs used were inconsistent with TCEQ rules or applicable regulatory or statutory authority. Further, OPIC also agrees with the ALJ's finding that E. coli is the appropriate indicator bacteria pursuant to 30 Texas Administrative Code Section 309H1A, because the record clearly establishes that the discharge is into freshwater. In sum, OPIC agrees with applicant and the ED that the ALJ and the draft permit meets all state and federal legal and technical requirements and would protect human health and safety in the environment and physical property. Accordingly, OPIC recommends that the commission adopt the proposed order and issue the draft permit as written. Thank you. Available
Thank you,
for
Ms. Jameson.
questions.
Colleagues, any questions or comments? Okay. Mr. Walker, you have an opportunity for rebuttal? No rebuttal. All right. Thank you, sir. Colleagues, I see this way the Executive Director and Office of Public Interest Counsel do. I don't find any basis to change the ALJ's findings or conclusions, and pending your thoughts, I'm ready to adopt the proposed order. Commissioner Janeka.
I'm in agreement.
I also agree.
I think we're ready for a motion.
I move that we adopt the administrative law judge's proposed order with the revisions recommended in the ALJ's reply to exceptions letter dated March 14, 2024, and add, quote, "and the permit shall be issued," end quote, to the end of ordering provision 1 for clarification. I further move that we issue the ED's draft permit as amended during the SOA proceeding, and finally move that we adopt the ED's response to comments.
Second that.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next item.
Item number 2 is the consideration of the petition by O5 Ranch Investments LLC for creation of Burford Ranch Municipal Utility District. The parties have been notified that the commissioners will not take oral argument but may ask questions. Those who have signed in will be noted for the record.
Colleagues, again, I'm in agreement with the Executive Director and the Office of Public Interest Counsel. In this case, that Williamson County is an affected person. The proposed district is located in the county, which has an interest in the petitioner's requested authority, which includes road powers. I would grant the hearing request and include an ADR referral. Commissioner Janeka.
I agree.
I agree.
I think we're ready for a motion.
I move that we grant the hearing request of Williamson County, refer the petition to SOA for a contested case hearing on the petition, and refer the matter to the Commission's Alternative Dispute Resolution Program to run concurrently with SOA's scheduling process.
I second the motion.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next items.
That takes us to our enforcement docket, which are items 3 through 35. And the executive director's staff is here to present these matters.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. For the record, my name is Michael Parrish of the Enforcement Division, and with me today are Melissa Cordell, also of the Enforcement Division, and Gitanjali Yadav of the Litigation Division, representing the Executive Director. Pending before you are items 3 through 35. The total assessed administrative penalties are $1,141,913, with $327,286 deferred, $421,922 applied towards supplemental environmental projects, and $392,705 to the general revenue. We respectfully request approval of these items and are available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Parrish. I have none. Any questions, colleagues? Seeing none, Ms. Smith, has anybody signed in to speak?
On items 3, 5, 8, and 9, we have individuals signed in who indicated that they're available for questions.
Thank you. Mr. Arthur, what says the Office of Public Interest Counsel?
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. For the record, I'm Garrett Arthur, TCEQ Public Interest Counsel. OPIC supports adoption of these enforcement orders as presented by ED staff. Also, I'd just like to note that this is a substantial enforcement docket, and I'd like to say that we appreciate staff's efforts to bring this many orders before the Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Arthur. Colleagues, any questions or comments? If not, I think I'm ready to move forward with this docket.
I move that we adopt items 3 through 35 as recommended today by the Executive Director.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next item.
So item number 36 is the consideration of the publication of and hearing on proposed amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 336, the radioactive substance rules. And the Executive Director's staff is here to present this item.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I am Hans Wager with the Radioactive Materials Division. Audrey Leiter with the Environmental Law Division is available virtually. The proposed rulemaking would modify the rules to correct errors, remove obsolete text, add clarity, add a definition of closure to subchapter B of 30 TAC Chapter 336, radioactive substance fees, and modify the training requirements for the radiation safety officer in 30 TAC 336.208A and 30 TAC 336.1215A5 to provide the Commission flexibility in determining adequate training for the radiation safety officer at different licensed facilities. A hybrid public hearing on this proposal is scheduled for July 29, 2024. Staff respectfully recommends approval to propose the publication of and hearing on Chapter 336 radioactive substance rules. Staff also respectfully requests permission to make non-substantive revisions to comply with Texas Register requirements. Thank you. We are available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Wager. I have none. Any questions? Seeing none. Thank you, sir. Ms. Smith, has anybody signed in to speak on this item?
No one is signed in.
Mr. Arthur.
OPIC has reviewed the amendments to the Chapter 336 radioactive substance rules and has no objection to publication of the proposal.
Thank you. Colleagues, I'm in the same place. I'm ready to put this out for public comment.
Okay, I move that we approve the publication of and hearing on the proposed amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 336, radioactive substance rules as recommended by the executive director.
A second.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next item.
Item 37 is the consideration of the publication of and hearing on proposed amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 115, Control of Air Pollution from Volatile Organic Compounds. The Executive Director's staff is here to present this matter.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, General Counsel, Public Interest Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I'm Bob Gifford with the Air Quality Division. With me is Donna Huff with the Air Quality Division. John Mentor with the Environmental Law Division is available online. For your consideration today is item 37, the Executive Director's proposed revisions to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 115, Control of Air Pollution from Volatile Organic Compounds. This proposed rulemaking would address Federal Clean Air Act contingency measure requirements for the Dallas-Fort Worth and Houston, Galveston, Brazoria ozone non-attainment areas under the 2008 8-hour ozone standard. Staff respectfully requests permission to publish the proposed rule revisions, solicit public comment, and hold a virtual public hearing. Staff also respectfully requests permission to make non-substantive revisions to comply with Texas Register requirements. Thank you for your consideration. We are available to answer your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Gifford. Colleagues, any questions? Ms. Smith, is anybody signed in to speak?
No one has signed in on this matter.
Thank you. And what's the position of the Public Interest Counsel's office?
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners, General Counsel, ED staff. I'm Josiah Mercer with the Office of Public Interest Counsel. We've reviewed the rule proposal package and we support publication. It's a federally mandated effort that has potential benefits for the DFW and HGB communities, both in terms of reducing contingency MOX limits and in terms of helping them meet applicable ozone NACs. We will be attending the virtual public meeting on the 25th, and we note that the public involvement plan and alternative language requirements have been properly proposed. So we will monitor this effort and keep the Commission apprised of any public interest issues. We really appreciate the staff's work on these rules, and we support approval.
Thank you for that. July 25th, that's the meeting. Is that correct? Correct date?
I believe so. Don, is that right?
Okay.
25th, yes.
I misheard something earlier, but July 25th, we're sticking with that. I appreciate your comments. I don't have any questions. Colleagues, any questions for Public Interest Counsel? I'm certainly ready to put this out to see what the public thinks about it.
I move that we adopt the amendment to 30 Texas Administrative Code Section 116.
Yep.
I apologize. I'll restate that. Misspoke. I move that we approve the publication of and hearing on the proposed amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code Chapter 115, as recommended by the Executive Director.
I second.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next item.
Item 38 is the consideration of the adoption of amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code Section 116, 150E, and corresponding revisions to the state implementation plan. The Executive Director's staff is here to present this item.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I'm Suzanne Alexander with Air Permit Division. With me is Allison Stokes of the Air Quality Division. Also attending virtually is Abigail Edmonds of the Environmental Law Division. This adopted rulemaking amends the language of 30 Texas Administrative Code 116, 150E, verify the nitrogen oxide exemption for the El Paso non-attainment area, applies only for the 1979 one-hour ozone standard in accordance with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's approval of the NOx waiver. If adopted, the revision to Chapter 116 will be submitted to EPA as a revision to the state implementation plan. Notice of the draft amendment was published in the Texas Register on January 26, 2024. The hybrid in-person and virtual formal public hearing was held in Austin on Tuesday, February 27, 2024. The comment period closed at midnight on February 27, 2024. No oral or written comments were received. In conclusion, staff respectfully recommends adoption of the amendment to Chapter 116 and revision to the SIP. Staff also respectfully requests permission to make non-substantive revisions if necessary to comply with Texas Register requirements. Thank you. We are available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Alexander. I have none. Any questions? Seeing none, is anybody signed in to speak?
No one is signed in.
And Mr. Martinez, good morning. What's the position of the Office of Public Interest Counsel?
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Executive Director. My name is Eli Martinez. I'm with the Office of Public Interest Counsel for the record. Our office reviewed this rule amendment and the changes clarifying that the NOx exemption for the El Paso area applies only for the 1979 one-hour ozone standard in accordance with the EPA's approval of the NOx waiver. An appropriate public involvement plan, including a hearing, was created and implemented in this process, along with a helpful and informative plain language summary available to the public. And we ultimately concluded that the rulemaking serves a public interest by providing additional clarity in our rules. And for these reasons, we support adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Colleagues, this is a simple clarification. I'm ready to adopt it.
I move that we adopt the amendment to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Section 116.150E, and corresponding revisions to the state implementation plan as recommended by the Executive Director.
I second.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. The motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next items.
And the commission will be taking up items 39 and 40 together. And those items are the consideration for publication of and hearing on proposed amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 114, control of air pollution from motor vehicles, subchapters A and C, as well as corresponding revisions to the state implementation plan. And the executive director's staff is here to present these items.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I'm Stephanie Frederick with the Air Quality Division. With me are David Sarens and Donna Huff with the Air Quality Division, and Contessa Gay with the Environmental Law Division is available online. For your consideration today is item 39, the Executive Director's proposed revision to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 114, control of air pollution from motor vehicles. Also for your consideration today is item 40, the Executive Director's proposed Vehicle Inspection and Maintenance, or IM, State Implementation Plan, or SIP revision. This proposed SIP revision and rulemaking would implement House Bill 3297, which eliminates the mandatory annual vehicle safety inspection program for non-commercial vehicles, and Senate Bill 2102, which extends the initial registration and inspection period for rental vehicles from 2 years to 3 years. The proposed rulemaking would also raise the maximum fee that inspection stations are allowed to charge for an emissions inspection in El Paso, Travis, and Williamson counties, and solicit comment on raising the maximum fee for inspections in all IM counties in the state. Staff respectfully requests permission to publish the proposed SIP and rule revisions, solicit public comment, and hold a public hearing. Thank you for consideration. We're available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Frederick. I have none. Any questions? Seeing none, is anybody signed in to speak?
We have several people signed in to speak on this one. So we'll begin with Jojo Hesselmeyer. And I'll just note that we'll have 3 minutes for each speaker. And if the commission needs further discussion with the speaker, you can extend that, obviously.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Smith. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Commissioner Newman, Commissioner Gonzalez, and Commissioner Janetka? For the record, my name is JoJo Hazelmeyer, and I am the Deputy Executive Director for the Texas State Inspection Association. I've spent the past few weeks absorbing the very thorough and complex 2024 fee analysis study, and I wanted to take this opportunity to speak with you about the proposed rules as it relates to the vehicle emissions fee. Under Section E, labeled Overall Findings on the Adequacy of the Fee, ERG notes that the number of stations in the Houston-Dallas program areas saw a moderate decrease compared to 2022. The number of stations in the market decreased by 12.5% since 2022, which seems to indicate that the fee of $18.50 is not sufficient in these program areas. In the El Paso program area, ERG notes that 56% of stations, excluding building cost, are estimated to break even, while only 30% of stations break even when building costs are included. Given the decrease in the percentage of stations breaking even and the low percentage of stations breaking even when accounting for building costs on top of equipment cost, this suggests that stations may be having a difficult time covering their cost with revenue, and the $11.50 price should be increased. In the Austin Round Rock program area, the percentage of stations breaking even, excluding building cost, according to the cost model analysis, is just 2%, a dramatic decrease from 2022. This is a strong indication that the fee needs to be increased in the Austin Round Rock program area. Based on these findings, none of these program areas have adequate fees, nor does this study take into account the safety inspection fee that will be going away in December of this year. I would surmise that the elimination of the safety inspection fee will make it even more difficult for stations to want to stay in the emissions inspection business. The sad reality is that Texans need these stations to exist. Thank you for your time this morning, and I look forward to seeing you in July.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your comments.
You're welcome. Do y'all have any questions?
Seeing none. Thank you.
Next, we have Brandy Bird, who I believe is online.
Good morning. Are you there?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. Go ahead. Thank you.
Great, wonderful. For the record, I'm Brandy Bird, the Executive Director of the Texas State Inspection Association. And I want to take this opportunity to speak to you about the vehicle emissions inspection proposed rulemaking. I first just want to thank you and your staff for taking the time to conduct the biannual survey and seeking industry feedback. I think it's very important for the public to understand that this vehicle emissions inspection program is an opt-in program provided by private businesses, and it is not subsidized by the government in any way. So private businesses have to pay rent, pay employees, buy equipment, and make the economics work with the inspection fee that is set by the state. That is why so many inspection locations around the state are no longer offering inspections, because the rates that are currently set just cannot make the economics work. So I want to thank you and your staff for the recommendation to create a uniform fee statewide by raising the fee in the Austin and El Paso areas. I think this is a great first start. And then I also want to thank you for considering taking public comment to raise the fee to a maximum of $28.50 statewide. Because real estate prices and labor costs have skyrocketed over the past few years, the current fee set by the state just is not sufficient for inspection stations to stay in the program. That's why we've seen such bleeding in the industry of inspection stations getting out of the program. It's also why we've seen customers have to drive to multiple locations and wait in longer lines in order to get their emissions inspection. So we believe by setting the fee at a maximum of $28.50, it will create a market-based system so that stations can set the price based on market conditions. And in areas where real estate and labor costs are high, they can set the price accordingly. And when in areas where costs are lower, they can also set the price accordingly and offer a discounted rate to customers. So with that, I will just stop and take any comments, and we look forward to having more dialogue before the final rules are adopted.
Thank you. We appreciate the comments. No questions or comments from me. And I'm not seeing any other on the dais. So thank you for taking your time this morning to share your thoughts with us.
Thank you.
And next, we have Grant Smith, also virtual.
Are you there, Mr. Smith? And we can't hear you if you want to double check your mute button. Mr. Smith? Tell you what, we'll come back around to you.
Bill Williams.
Morning, Mr. Williams.
Good morning, Council, Commissioners. I have vehicle inspection stations in the Houston-Harris County area. And as an owner of an inspection-only station, I would like to voice my concerns of any proposal that would reduce the current maximum fee of $25.50 inspection. Alternatively, I would hope to convince the Commission that an increase in the statutory fee is needed. In 2002, the net profit to a vehicle inspection station for an ASM inspection was $31.50 and $25.50 for the OBD. However, the additional $6 from the ASM inspection was taken away in 2016 with the elimination of the ASM testing, leaving only the $25.50 inspection for the OBDs. If I may, I would like to compare two major expenses, rent, labor, from 2002 to 2024 at just two of our locations. Also keep in mind, we are getting the same $25.50 inspection fee set 22 years prior. In 2002, our Shepherd location rent increased 88% from 2002 to 2024. In 2002, our rent at 529 location increased 172% by 2024. In 2002, our labor cost per employee was $8.64 per hour. In 2024, that number is $16.99 an hour. That's a 97% increase. This does not include increased cost in all operating costs since 2002. On average, inspection-only stations will do 600 to 800 OBD inspections a month. Depending on their rent, they will perform 600 to 700 inspections just to break even. If the current $25.50 inspection fee is reduced, low volume and many average volume locations will close. Just for a minute, I'd like to talk about the importance and the value of inspection-only stations. Inspection-only stations do not perform repairs or do oil changes, but it's designed and function solely on the state vehicle inspection program. The inspection-only stations are well received by the public. Consumers know there are no conflicts of interest in the inspection. The wait is minimal. Inspectors are always on duty. Unlike repair loop shops that only have one analyzer, inspection-only locations have multiple analyzers and will not put off repairs since their business depends on it. As for regulatory inspection-only stations is akin to a centralized testing program. Inspection-only stations have the most to lose for not complying with the rules, regulations laid out by TECQ and the Department of Public Safety. Vehicle inspections as a way of getting business for many shops, oil change and repair shops, where inspection-only stations will lose their license and lose their business. This is the second time in my 35 years in the inspection program that I'm concerned about the future of inspection-only stations. The first was the 1995 emission inspection program that was put out by the state. However, the program.
That's time.
I'll ask you just to finish your thought, sir.
Okay. I'm sorry?
I was just going to ask you to complete your thought. You can wrap up.
Okay.
You can finish your sentence.
Okay. I believe the inspection station only is an essential part of the inspection program and is a valuable partner to the state of Texas, and we would appreciate your support.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments.
William Schwartz.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. My name's Bill Schwartz, and I'm a CPA, and for over 10 years, I've owned a small chain of 3 inspection-only shops in Austin. I'm also a TSIA board member. Because of my background, I have a lot of insight into economics of the inspection business. It's become very hard to get an inspection in Austin because there's an ever-growing supply and demand imbalance caused by the inspection price of $18.50 being too low to make inspections a worthwhile business, especially for repair and lube shops. This causes drivers to waste hours calling and visiting multiple places in order to find an inspection. The current rulemaking proposed to set the inspection rate at the same inadequate $18.50 statewide. Not only will this perpetuate the growing problem in Austin, but it will spread that problem to Dallas and Houston, where we've heard the rent is more expensive. You don't have to believe me, though. In preparing for this meeting, I discovered several website threads discussing the problem. One is titled, "Why Are Car Inspections So Impossible to Get in Austin?" On these sites and in reviews my customers have posted, drivers are talking about needing 2 days and 5 to 7 stops to find an inspection. Every one of these drivers would gladly pay an extra $7 to $10 to avoid this hassle. Still don't believe prices need to increase? Since I'm an accountant, let's look at the numbers. Between 2019 and 2023, population growth in Austin was 19%. The number of inspection places doing at least one inspection a year dropped 12%. The market share of inspection-only places like mine grew from 19 to 24%, or 382,000 inspections. Auto repair and lube shops are cutting back and using their space and labor for more profitable services. At $18.50, I will not be renewing any of my leases. Myself, and I suspect all other inspection-only places, will go out of business in a couple of years. Do you think the repair and lube guys in Austin will be able to absorb 382,000 more inspections? They won't. It will become impossible to get an inspection, as the lube shop and repair shops will continue to cut back more, not absorb the extra business. If you set the price at a maximum of $28.50, you will create a market economy where supply and demand will naturally be in sync. More inspectors will enter the market and competition will increase, creating discounting, so the true price of an inspection will be set by the market. I estimate this to be $23 to $25 after discounts. It also gives you about 10 years before inflation necessitates the need to address the fee again. Please listen to your own survey results and set the maximum price at $28.50. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments.
Charles Ray.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner and Chairman. My name is Chuck Ray. I'm the Vice President of Operations for Vehicle Inspections for DEKRA North America. We perform vehicle inspections in 26 different countries, as well here in the U.S. We're in 7 states, including Texas, and last year worldwide we did over 33 million inspections. I'm here to speak about the proposed rulemaking on emissions inspections. I want to thank each of you for taking public comment to consider raising the fee up to $28.50. DEKRA has several locations in the DFW area, including one location in Plano. Because property values there are high, the rent at that location is $14,000 a month. We support raising the fee to a maximum of $28.50. Again, going back to what Bill just said, $28.50 gives you the competition that we need. We may need to charge more to keep this location open at the $28.50. But people in Plano have to get their inspections done. The taxes and the fee there in Plano is a lot higher than it would be in, say, the Dallas area. The people in Plano don't want to have to drive to Dallas to get their inspections done, though. If emissions inspections go to $18.50, which is the base rate at the current proposed, DEKRA would have to do 1,567 inspections a month just to cover our expenses at that location. DEKRA is a test-only company. We do not perform any other services. Our volume of inspections have to cover the costs, or we will close our locations in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That is also why some of the big box retailers, such as Bill was just talking about, Firestone and Goodyear, are considering leaving the program because it just is not economically sound for them. Our concern is that the fee is not increased above $18.50. Customers will have to drive longer distances and wait in long lines because this program will not make economic sense for businesses to continue to participate in the program. And with that, I will give you back some time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the comments.
We have Greg Cole online.
Mr. Cole, are you there? Mr. Cole? Let's circle back and give him a.
We'll circle back then and see if Grant Smith is available.
Mr. Smith, are you there?
Indeed, you do. Indeed instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
All right, so
So that's everyone on
I think our virtual participants are not able to join us. All right. Well, let's tell you what, let's do this. Let's give them one last shot after we hear from Public Interest Counsel. Good morning again, Mr. Martinez.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Executive Director. Once again, I'm Eli Martinez with the Office of Public Interest Counsel. We reviewed this rule proposal and supervision, and we support moving forward with the items as they are legislative mandated efforts that have potential benefits to the public in terms of correcting outdated rule references, supporting our test fee analysis, and making mandatory updates to our SIP. We note also that the public involvement plan and alternative language requirements have been properly proposed. We'll be attending any public hearings that may take place during the comment period and consider all public comment in our recommendation. We do appreciate the comments that were just given by TSIA, individual shop owners, and other organizations as well. Certainly, the process works better the more voices that are heard. As always, we'll continue to monitor the effort as it progresses and apprise the Commission of any public interest issues that may emerge. And we're available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Should we try Mr. Greg Cole again?
Mr. Cole, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we hear you loud and clear now. Go ahead when you're ready, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Council, and staff. My name is Greg Cole. I'm president of DFW Loop Ventures, and I'm also chairman of the Texas State Inspection Association. Testifying in support of raising the emissions testing fee to a price not to exceed $28.50. The emissions testing fee was established in early 2001 and was modeled as part of a combined safety and emissions fee. It might be the only thing in Texas you can get for the same price you did in 2001. Since inception, in 2001, public access to a quick vehicle inspection in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and Greater Houston areas of non-attainment has never been a problem. With the elimination of $7 safety inspection, that easy access is now at risk. If the inspection-only stations are unable to survive at $18.50, there will be hundreds of thousands of motorists seeking a new inspection station. The remaining stations, in most instances, will be unable to absorb that volume, nor will most be incented or willing to expand their capacity at a greatly reduced net fee. The opportunity cost of performing emissions testing versus oil change, routine maintenance, or repair will simply be too high. So I think the idea, to what several have said earlier, the idea of a more market-based, not to exceed pricing will serve the industry very well as the motoring public. Because in the last legislative session, one of the big problems that we heard from many of the legislative staff in Austin were that they'd have to drive all over town, go to 5 or 6 places, and people were not willing to perform the inspections at the $18.50 even. So I think there's a pricing issue that exists today that will only be made worse. It will just really expose the entire Dallas-Fort Worth and Houston areas to that same issue. So that's my concern. I appreciate your consideration, and that I'll stop.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate that.
Grant Smith?
Mr. Smith, Mr. Smith, are you with us? All right.
He's supposed to be.
But he's not.
Okay. Darn it, he's in Colorado.
Well, tell you what. He will have an opportunity to submit written comments on this proposed rulemaking And we'll very much appreciate his comments then, but we do need to move on. Grateful to everybody who signed in to speak today, all the interested persons. Colleagues, I think we're ready to put this out for public comment, and I'm glad we did have the comments on the fee structure today, because that's the part that I'm most interested in. We need a functioning system, and we can't expect these stations to offer this service as a loss leader. Doesn't make sense. That doesn't serve the public's interest. So I'm ready to move forward. Commissioner Ginecka?
Well said, Chairman. I'll add my thoughts that the way our rulemaking process so often proceeds, this level of feedback and advocacy and engagement from the public typically comes after we approve publication and some time has passed. And so we'll hear these comments in the course of our process, but I'm really impressed and appreciate all of the representation from the public today of advocacy for an issue that's clearly so important to not just all of you, but all of us, the Texans that you serve as your customers every day. So just can't help but note that as I'm watching this process slowly but surely unfold, and I'm ready to move forward as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez?
Ready to move forward.
Ready for a motion then?
I move that we approve the publication of and hearing on proposed amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 114, Control of Air Pollution from Motor Vehicles, subchapters A and C, and corresponding revisions to the state implementation plan.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next item.
That takes us to item 41, which is the quadrennial rule review for 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 86. And the Executive Director's staff is here to present this matter.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I'm Gwen Rico with the General Law Division. Pending before you is item 41, the adopted rule review of 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 86, Special Provisions for Contested Case Hearings. As required by Texas Government Code Sections 2001.039, Executive Director's staff conducted a rule review of this chapter to determine if the need for the rules within this chapter continues to exist. The proposed notice for the review of Chapter 86 was published in the November 24th, 2023 issue of the Texas Register with a 30-day comment period. No comments were received for this rule review. Based on the review of this chapter, the Executive Director has determined that the reasons for the rules in Chapter 86 continues to exist, and changes to the rules identified as part of this review process will be addressed in a separate rulemaking action in accordance with the Texas Administrative Procedure Act. In conclusion, we respectfully recommend approval of the adoption of the rule review of Chapter 86. Additionally, staff requests authorization to make non-substantive revisions necessary to comply with the Texas Register requirements. Thank you, and the project manager and staff attorney are available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Rico. I think I'm seeing no questions at this point. Ms. Smith, has anybody signed in to speak?
No one has signed in.
Mr. Arthur?
OPIC agrees that the reasons for initially adopting the Chapter 86 rules continue to exist, and we support readoption of the rules in this chapter.
I do too. Colleagues, I'd be ready for a motion.
I move that we adopt the rule reviews and re-adopt the rules in 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 86 without amendment.
A second amendment.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Ms. Smith, please call the next item.
Item 42 is our public comment session. We don't have anyone signed in to speak at this time. We can pause to see if there's anyone in the audience. It looks like mostly staff at this point.
I see no one approaching the microphone. Is there anybody online who'd like to speak? Anybody joining us virtually? All right. I think we're done with that item.
Items 43 through 46 are for closed session, and the commission will not be in closed session today.
Unmuted.
Time is 10:20 a.m. We are adjourned. Thank Thank you all.